Select A level. Amateur, Gumshoe, Sleuth, PI, Detective. Let's start in the middle, see if we can figure out. Am I playing against the computer or am I playing against me? Let's figure this out here. Let's go full 6. That'd be Miss Scarlet. Human. Mustard. Computer. Miss White. Computer. Mr. Green. Computer. Miss Peacock. Computer. Professor Plum. Computer. Alright. Okay, so it was not Mrs. Peacock. Let's just write this out this way, okay. Peacock, Plum, Mustard, Scarlet, White. Green. Can't remember all of the tools and clues. Let's just go with this. Write them out as I see them. Alright. But it was not Miss Peacock. Oh, it's quite the board. Roll. Oh, geez, that's a freaky hand. Oh, now you're just cheating, computer. That's what's happening. I can tell. You can't fool me. The rope was not in the dining room. That doesn't tell me a ton. That's why it suggests Professor Plum did it with the knife in the dining room. Professor Plum was not in the dining room. Okay, so the suggestion has to be the room you were in. Suggest Mr. Green with the knife in the dining room. Mr. Green did not have the knife. I still haven't done anything. Just straight up rolling sixes, huh, Colonel Mustard? I'm aware the pipe was not in the lounge because I have the pipe and the revolver. Hello, Kim Smitherman. Good to see you again. Rosa Plum did not have the knife. Everybody making suggestions all the time. The revolver was in the dining room. But what does that mean? Because I have the revolver, so it wasn't the revolver. Wait a minute, let me check something here. The rope was in the conservatory. Okay, so by knowing that the revolver was in the dining room, I know, and knowing the revolver wasn't used to commit the crime, I know the crime didn't happen in the dining room. That's how this works. Okay. The rope was in the conservatory. Mrs. White was not in the lounge. I still can't go anywhere. This is frustrating. Mrs. Peacock was in the conservatory, so we know it didn't happen in the conservatory. Okay. The air hung damp and heavy from the lush foliage of the conservatory. Mrs. Peacock fidgeted nervously. Oh. So I know it wasn't the rope. Oh, I am certain it could not have been the rope. I have proof! What was that, Miss Green? Miss Scarlet was in the study. Okay, so my cards, I have Miss Peacock, the revolver, and the lead pipe. So I know that it wasn't any of those. So what I can do is I can make, and I know Miss Peacock was in the conservatory. So let's figure out who was in the ballroom. So I make a suggestion. In the ballroom, say it was Mrs. Peacock with a wrench. Mrs. Peacock had the rope. Okay. Professor Plum did not have a weapon. Let's find out. I gotta figure out how this thing's working because it's freaking me out a little bit. Taking notes, I'm taking notes. Mrs. White with the revolver in the lounge. Mrs. White did not have the revolver. It's getting a little more complicated here. Scott's turn. Okay, I know it didn't happen in the conservatory, so I gotta get somewhere else. Perfect. Colonel Mustard with the poop stick. Entirely possible. Mrs. Peacock didn't do it, I know that. Mrs. White did not have the pipe. But it seems like Mrs. White may have been in the lounge. Yeah, the hand is a little weird. I don't like it. I'm not sure what exactly they were going for, but oof. Did Mr. Green have the wrench in the dining room? Mr. Green was in the dining room. Mrs. Peacock suggests Colonel Mustard in the ballroom with the wrench. Colonel Mustard was not in the ballroom. Interrogation. Mr. Green, revolver, dining room. The dishes were set in tidy rows across the dining room table. Mr. Green waited with anticipation. He reached for the revolver. Wait, I am certain it could not have been the revolver. I have proof. Okay. So we know it wasn't the rope and it wasn't the revolver. Let's check the billiard room. Let's say it was Colonel Mustard with the wrench in the billiard room. Colonel Mustard was in the hall. Can't quite make an accusation yet. The candlestick was in the billiard room. Secret passage. Okay, the candlestick wasn't in the conservatory, and Mrs. White wasn't in the conservatory. We know that, because Miss Peacock... Okay, no one had the candlestick, which means no one was in the billiard room. Which means it wasn't the candlestick, and it wasn't in the billiard room. So, let's get to the library. We're going to suggest that Miss White was in the library with the wrench. Mrs. White was in the ballroom. Yes, we know she wasn't in the library, but we don't know where the knife was. And it was either the wrench or the knife. Mustard was in the hall, and Colonel Mustard did not have the wrench. Mrs. White was in the ballroom. There was no weapon in the lounge. So we know it wasn't in the lounge. So it was the ballroom, the study, or the hall. Alright, let's try and get to the hall. It's pretty far away. Can't get there now. Okay. Hello, Caroline. The wrench was in the ballroom with Mrs. White. Suspicious. Ballroom was filled with the echoes of parties long since dead. Mrs. White quietly tidied up the ballroom. She deftly hefted the wrench. No one can prove otherwise. Okay, but now we know a little bit more about how this works. So we can try again here. We've lost because, yes, it was Miss White with the wrench in the ballroom. Okay, round 2. What a mess. How did you know? I seem to have cooked my own goose. Okay. Yay, game over. We want to win one here. Come on. Okay, this is interesting at least. Let's try knocking it down to 3. See what we can do. Human quarter. Oh, that is very interesting, Johan. Okay. So what we know is it was not Professor Plum, Mrs. White, the revolver, the rope, the hall, or the library. That's what we know to start. See what we can eliminate. Nothing. Fewer players means fewer clues, looks like I would guess here. So, because there'll be a lot fewer suggestions and a lot less moving around. Okay. The knife was not in the dining room. Okay. Start with Colonel Mustard with the knife in the lounge. The knife was not in the lounge. Mr. Green did not have the pipe. Okay. Mr. Green with the revolver in the conservatory, perhaps? The revolver was not in the conservatory. So I just keep doing this. I can keep making suggestions until I narrow things down a little bit. Okay, so I know it wasn't Professor Plum or Miss White, so I say Miss Peacock with the lead pipe in the lounge. Mrs. Peacock was not in the lounge. Miss Scarlet did not have a weapon. So Miss Scarlet did not do it. The wrench was in the ballroom. Dun dun dun. Make a dining room suggestion then. Let's go with Mrs. White with the knife. Mrs. White was not in the dining room. Dang it. Just dump him right back in the dining room. The knife was in the study. Oh, thank you, G-Man. So I need to get to the study. Okay, so we'll try the lounge. Wasn't the wrench or the knife, so we'll try the pipe with me. I suggest I did it. Ha! What do you say to that? The pipe was in the billiard room. The knife was in the study. Let's see if that tells us where Miss Peacock was. She was not in the dining room. Okay. Was Miss White in the conservatory with, say, the revolver? The revolver was in the library. Good to know. Where was Mr. Green? He did not have the rope. Well, that's good to know. Really? Come on. Work with me here. The pipe was in the billiard room, sir. You're not paying attention. Mrs. White was not in the lounge. Okay. Gotta figure this out. 4. Want to know what the ballroom? I know the wrench was in the ballroom. So let's try this. Let's try suggesting Mrs. White in the ballroom with a wrench. Okay, fine. Yeah, I think 6 players was the way to go, just to move things along, even if it was harder because the computer reaches that accusation state pretty fast. The candlestick was in the conservatory. Mr. Green was in the conservatory. So I know that Mr. Green and the candlestick were in the conservatory, and both are technically unaccounted for. So what I can do is I can do an interrogation. Mr. Green, candlestick, conservatory. Let's see if I can get proof. The air hung damp and heavy from the lush foliage of the conservatory. Mr. Green waited with anticipation. He found the candlestick. That's an interesting possible scenario. And no one can prove me wrong. So, I had the revolver and the rope. Plum, scarlet, white. Let me double check, make sure I didn't ruin anything. Yeah. So if no one can prove me wrong, then I can accuse Mr. Green with the candlestick in the conservatorium. Mr. Green waited with anticipation. He found the candlestick. He was tired of being messed with. And... Hey, what's this? I got friends in high places, buddy. And well, I won. I figured it out. I cracked the case. Or you play Home Alone Super Nintendo. Home Alone is actually coming up pretty quick here. Is that it? I win the game. Okay, we played Clue.